Hello. Okay, we made it. We made it. We were having some technical issues in the background, but we made it. I'm here. My special guest is coming up soon. But I do, oh, wait a minute. I have this necklace on. Do you want to say, I am Yolanda. I am locating cozy, and this is a broad chat. So I'm so thankful that you guys have made it here. I appreciate your patience. Thank you for coming. I am here to just share my insight and be maybe a little entertaining. And I hope that you guys enjoy whatever I got to talk about. So, before I go on and bring on our special guest today, I'm so excited. I do want to make sure and just do a couple of, I guess, church announcements, and and I hope that you guys are following through when you go and hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure that you set the notification so that whenever I do post content, whether it's a live chat, whether I'm going live, or if I'm going to upload something, which I haven't done that in I don't know how long, yeah, that you guys will know about it, right? So make sure you do that. Let's see what else is going on. Well, what is going on in my world? So, as y'all know, I was approved for my visa, right? I'm sorry, my neighbors are like, the walls are thin and the neighbors are doing some acrobat stuff here. Anyways, I was approved for my visa. And so Monday I had to go and get my fingerprint done. And it's one of those things sometimes where you think that your child gets on your nerves, and then they do something that clearly, like, I'm like, thank goodness for my daughter, because when it's a Sunday night, I was like, I was like, I got my attorney. He sent me everything that I needed to do, and I'm just going to go ahead and present this letter, and with the letter with the approval and the letter for my appointment, and I am going to just strut on in there to the police station and be like, I've arrived, and get my fingers printed, and I'll be out. And my daughter reached out to me on Sunday evening, and she was like, hey, do you have everything that you need from that list, to make sure that you have everything in order to present? And I was like, I don't, my lawyer did all that. I don't have to do anything. Yeah, I do have things to do. And she went online and just checked, because I was just like, I don't know. I think I had some kind of privilege in my brain, like, I don't have to worry about those things. My solicitor handled everything. No, girl. I needed to have a passport photo done. I needed to print out. There was something that showed that I was living here, that I needed. It was presented to my attorney. Actually uploaded this information, but I still had to physically have it in my hand when I brought it to the local police station where they do the fingerprinting, and that go through the next steps. So, anyways, I thank goodness that my daughter was on my case. She's meticulous and wants to make sure that everything is handled correctly, and so I got up early that morning on Monday morning, and I got all the paperwork together. There was only one thing that I didn't have. Um, oh, it was just like just the application itself. There was like a special form that you had to fill out. That was it. Anyways, I got up early that morning, and the places to go print stuff opened up at like 9 o'clock. So I went there. People were very nice. Still had a hard time communicating, but they were very nice. I printed out everything, made sure everything was together, and then I walked over and ran across some other office place, and went in there to see if they could provide me with the photos that I needed. And he like wrote down the directions, because since he knew I couldn't speak Spanish, he kind of wrote out a map to tell me where to go to get the picture taken for the passport photo. Anyways, that's done. And then when we got there to the appointment, I guess my daughter had a pretty challenging experience when she went to get her visa renewed. And she was flashing back to being there for hours on end. She was like, you're going to be there. You're just going to have to wait. It's going to, just, you're going to be waiting for hours. And I was like, okay. And yeah, we were done in an hour. My daughter was shocked. Yeah, we came in and half the paperwork that I had to have, the person that was actually processing everything didn't even ask me. I think they asked for like three three documents and the picture, and that was it. So I don't want to say that that happens all the time because I don't know. I just know that this particular lady that was handling it didn't ask for all the documents, and I appreciate it. So yeah, we were in and out in an hour, so that was amazing. And then what else? I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, I'm like let's see. I was gonna share some other stuff, but we'll wait for another time. It's no big deal. I was just talking about what's going on in my world and some entertaining things. Maybe it'll come up later on in conversation. Maybe not. We'll see. But that's because I really do want to go ahead and bring on our wonderful guest today. And so we're going to do that instead. And then we'll jump around and see what happens. And what else? Oh, but before I start, how are you locating your cozy? What are you doing? What are you doing to make yourself happy? What are you doing to implement whatever it is? Maybe it's reading a book and learning something that you've been wanting to do, something that's making you happy, that gives you joy. So what are you doing? I would love to know. Tell me. While you're doing that, I'm actually going to go ahead and bring on Miss Eve. We're going to bring her on, and I'm going to also be checking the comments after we bring her on. But first, let's go ahead and start with introducing and bringing Miss Eve on. Hi there.
Hi.
You have sound. Oh my gosh. Just so y'all know, we were dealing with some technical issues in the background. So, but we're good now. Sometimes
We're
it's just
good now,
click of a
right?
button.
We're,
Yeah.
we're so good now. I'm afraid to touch any buttons. To do anything like, let me just leave it like it is.
Like, don't touch that.
Not
so,
touching
so
it.
So I put out a call yesterday, and I was like, I want to talk to women who have some experiences, and it was last minute, and I'm so glad that Eve was like, "Girl, I got you. I can come on in." So I wanted to talk about um, women who are doing things and maybe who have attended Exodus Summit before, or this is their first time attending. So do me a favor. How about this? How about you tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell the audience a little bit about you. Tell us, what's going on in your world before we go over to the comments.
All right. Well, my name is Eve Clark, and on all my socials, it's Disabled Diva Travels. I am a disabled traveler, and I also live abroad with my husband. We travel all over the world, but I do have multiple chronic illnesses. Right? And so since 2019, that's when I first left the United States to live abroad. Before that, I lived in Dallas, and before that, I lived in Chicago. I'm born and raised in Chicago, and I lived in Dallas for the last 20 years. But in 2019, I moved abroad, and I have just been having a ball living all over the world. I lived in Thailand for a little bit, lived in Indonesia during the pandemic. I dropped back into the States to care for my aging mother. And then since then, my husband and I have just been global citizens, traveling through various countries, staying a month or two at a time. So on my channels, I like to encourage disabled travelers that you can still travel and live abroad despite having numerous issues, right? I have numerous health issues. I have an aging parent back in the States. I have a son, I have grandchildren, and I still manage to see all of my family and take care of all of my healthcare needs, no matter where I'm at in the world. And in doing so, I like to encourage other women and other individuals that they can do it too. It's not financially off putting to be able to do so. And it's not off putting no matter what your health challenges may be. You can still move around the country.
That is just so amazing to to hear, because you a lot of times we hear people saying, "Oh, I can't because," of different situations, but you have figured out how to work through the challenges and have been very successful at it. Hey, I'm gonna put it in here a couple of times, but I'm gonna start out with putting your YouTube channel in the comments.
Yeah, let me tell you about YouTube. Oh my God. You know what? Stephanie would be so ashamed of me. Stephanie Perry, of course. I I should have so many more videos up, but I hate editing. Like that is the bane of my existence. I will get on and do a live and talk and chat it up with you, but like right now, I'm sitting on 10,000 videos of my travels all around the world to so many different places. But editing those videos down into little snippets. Oh, yeah, I don't want to do that. But I will get online and I will talk to you about travel insurance. I will get online and talk to you about how many times I've been hospitalized in different countries. I will get online and talk about tips on how to hire different tour guides and such. So I don't mind that. But baby, the YouTube struggle is a lot.
Let me tell you something. So that's me. That's me. And I actually enjoy learning because I use Camtasia to do my edits and everything. I mean, there's a lot of different platforms, and I enjoy it, but also I hate it. I freaking hate it. So
Mm-hmm.
Rashida was the one, had just told me, she's like, girl, just start going live. And I was like, no, because what if I mess up? And it's like, you messing up anyways, you got to edit that stuff out. So just go all natural and be done. Okay. It's just
Yeah, and
like,
I figure it's going to be what it's going to be, right? If I forgot a word, if I didn't say something right, if I misspoke, if I forgot it afterwards, oh well, you can call me, you can email me, you can inbox me if you needed further clarification. But
yeah,
sometimes I just want to get the information out there when I'm feeling it. And a
yeah,
lot of the time it's because of the way we travel. It's not like I have a set up station where everything is, right? I had to go find this device, this tripod, this ring light. I got some videos on this phone, some on this laptop. I'm like, yeah, that could wait.
yeah. It's fun. I mean, I do like, because like different ones. I'm trying to get into like creating a little shorts and everything to post, and I was all excited, and then I was like, okay. It's
Now,
just
but Instagram, I do post a lot of things on Instagram and a lot of tips. And I do a lot of different videos and conversations with other people. So
okay.
even like on my link tree, I link all my media that I've done with other individuals. So that still gets the message out there to help people.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm going to go into the comments really fast here. And, well, not
Okay,
really
let's
fast. You know
do
what? We're going on the comments, okay? Just to see what people are saying, because I'm very thankful that you guys are here during this live chat. And we're going to just go with the flow. Let's see. So thank you for coming. Hey, Bayesian Alpha 4. I appreciate you coming in. Junket 3000. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And who else is in here? Aileen, thank you. Okay. She was like in here when we were like in the background fumbling around trying to figure out what was
That
going
was
on.
so comical. And it was one little button, like, oh, there it is.
Like,
So that
oh,
was funny.
unmute. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. Done. Let's see. So it says, well, Bayesian Alpha was just saying, she said, I've heard horror stories when it comes to getting your residency card. You know, I let me tell you something really fast about this. So when you go to this particular office on Monday that I went to, you get a ticket, right? It's like three letters, like, R9S or W5Z. But there's no sequence order at all. So you don't know if you're going to be called in 2 seconds or in 2 hours. You're just sitting there. It's like you don't know if you're getting closer. Yeah. So I'm just thankful. There's still like a little mum or something buzzy in the background.
In
What is
my
that?
background, it's probably the heat because
Oh,
it's
okay.
cold here in Paris. One day we was burning up, and the next day it was 50 degrees.
And we're gonna get to that, y'all. Just yeah, I know you're like in Paris. What? We're gonna get to that. But yeah, it's I've heard of yeah, some big challenges as far as getting the residency or getting any kind of process done in any kind of European country because their bureaucratic process is so janky at times. Okay, but um, I've been lucky so far, so I'm gonna shut up and just go ride this ride until they tell me to get back and start over. Let's see who else is. Um, oh, okay. So Junket said, "Oh, I said, what are you doing to locate your cozy? And I love to walk in nature. That makes me feel energized and clear." Yes. I have not been walking very much lately. I mean, besides running errands, but just to get up and walk with no purpose, just to enjoy, is a great feeling. So let's see what else. Anybody? Hello, Ola Yinka. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Um, let's see. I'm researching. Oh, let's see here. And Eileen says, I'm researching the different countries that I'm interested in and putting them in a want to visit or scout to live columns. Okay. So, question for you, Eve. Do you have a home base anywhere right now? You and your husband have a home base at all anywhere, or?
Not really. You know, one of my husband's favorite things to say when people say, "Where do you live?" He likes to say, "We live on Earth," right? So we live out of these suitcases. So, but I'm very blessed and fortunate that my goddaughter keeps like six totes at her house for us in Texas. They've been there since we originally left. My son, I have a wardrobe in my granddaughter's closet. We keep things there in Texas. And then in Chicago, when I'm there, my whole winter wardrobe is at my brother's house. And so that's where I go and I stay there to help him and his wife take care of my mom, who's 93 years old. And then when I go back to Texas, we will sort of change out our wardrobe. I'm rarely any place cold, but we will change out our clothes as needed, depending on where our upcoming travel is. But we don't live anywhere. We don't have a home base, but I'm hoping that in 2025 we are going to go move to Mexico full time because I would sort of like all my stuff in one place, sort of. And the fact that we are global nomads just kind of happened really because of COVID, right? We were living in Thailand. We had left there because 1 to 2 months out of the year they burn the forest and it's the worst air quality in the world.
Mhm.
And I have a lung disease, and so I had to leave for a time. We had planned out the trip to be gone for about a month, but it was exactly when the world shut down. So we ended up leaving Thailand because of the poor air quality, going to Bali, which was one of the four places we had planned to travel to during that month. And when the world shut down, we got stuck there and we ended up staying there for a year and a half. So we didn't come back to the States until my mom's 90th birthday.
Wow. So, initially, when you first started traveling with your husband, whose idea was it more so, yours or his,
No,
or both?
it was definitely my idea. I used to, before I left the country, I owned a construction company. And in doing that, if anybody works for themselves, you can understand how stressful that could be. In construction, being a black woman in Texas was stressful. Working there, and what happened was I got cheated out of a construction contract, $300,000, and within an hour or two of this happening, I couldn't see and I couldn't walk. So I spent a month in the hospital and 6 months in full time rehab. And then I knew from that moment that I wasn't going to retire in the mannerism in which I thought. And so I was like, oh, I need to make the commodity in my construction me and not my company. So I began to ramp down some of the things I did, and began doing more project management work. And then I knew that even in doing that, I wasn't going to be able to do it for very long because I became unable to even go on a construction site. So I said, where can I go with this amount of money? If this is all the money that I'm ever going to have, where could I go to live? And that place is not in America. So I began researching different places and put a 6-year plan into effect on how to downsize our lives, um, change how I did business, and then picked a few countries that we wanted to live in. And that's where the plan came. And I told my husband, I was like, look, this is what I see for us. Do you think it's possible? And he was like, absolutely, let's go. And that's what we
Okay.
did. Yeah, that's what we did.
Okay. Wow. So there was like really no major pushback. He's like he saw the vision as you laid it out.
Definitely. My husband is my ride or die. So anybody that knows him knows that he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. So and we did.
Wow. So I think that I mean, I'm sorry. Can I say your husband's name?
Yeah, his name is
Mel.
Melvin.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I think Melvin can teach some other gentlemen a thing or two
But the good thing
how
is
to
that I don't know
acclimate.
if you want to call it good, but the good thing is my husband was a foster child, right? So he
Mhm.
has absolutely positively no family. None. Right? So he has nothing that was holding him back to he had to stay in America. He had absolutely no reason. Now, me, I got enough family for the both of us. I'm an adopted child. And so I actually have two families. But even then, all of my families were fine with the fact when I said, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm going to leave. Because since I grew up in Chicago and was the only one in my family at that time to leave and move to Texas, it was nothing for them when I decided to move out of the country. They figured that was the next step in it.
It was like logical step for you.
Yeah, yeah. And when I moved to Texas from Chicago, it really wasn't like I kept running home for lots of things, right? So you saw me once a year or twice a year. So to them, at the time, me thinking that I want to move to Mexico or Costa Rica, that's really the same thing as moving to Texas, right? In their mind, because they could get on a plane and fly to Texas. So why couldn't they fly another hour or two? Now, when I jumped up and moved to Thailand for a year, they was like, well, they were still cool with it because they knew it wasn't a permanent move. But my
Mhm.
entire family has passports. So they just rolled up on me in Thailand and they was visiting me there right before COVID happened,
Oh
including my 90-year
wow.
old mama. She got on a plane. My 1-year old grandbaby was on the plane. Like my sister came, like they all came to visit me.
Okay, so I have to just ask because that's not the normal what we hear, especially amongst
No.
our black families. So I have to ask, how did that come about? Who was the initiator of y'all need to get your passports? We're doing this, or was it something from
Oh,
the
you
younger
know
years?
what? No, no, they pretty much all had passports because it's nothing for me to say meet me in Mexico for a party or
Okay.
meet me, over here. So my family pretty much had passports already. When we got married in Mexico.
Okay.
Right, our
Okay.
going away party, it was in Mexico too. So, with like when my grandbaby was born, I think when she hit 3 months, they took her and laid her down on a piece of white cardboard and took a little passport picture. So it was nothing for my family to be like, yeah, how soon you going to be settled so we can come and visit. And in fact, I had the running joke for the expats in Thailand was like when you came to visit me, I had a really long whiteboard on the wall that listed every month somebody was coming. Every month,
Mhm.
somebody from out the country. My goddaughter, my son, my mama, my friends, they were all coming to visit. I am never on a shortage of somebody coming to see me, no matter where I'm at in the world.
See, that's where I've talked to different people, whether it's family or whether it's like other black women. So far since I've been in Spain, I've had I want to say about 5 or 6 black women that I've met up with, and this is not including my, my 2 daughters were here visiting recently, well, my 2 other daughters. But it's really great when I look at my calendar for this month, besides the, Madrid meetup that we're doing on October 23rd. But there's other women that are coming in that won't be able to make it to the Madrid meetup, but they're like, well, I'm going to be here. I'm going to pass through Zaragoza. Or if they know I'm going to be in Madrid, they're like, yes, let's meet up. And it's been wonderful
Mm-hmm.
to connect with, I have a friend that just I met her in Mexico in January, and then she was doing her own digital nomad thing, and she was like, I'm in Spain, let's meet up. So she stayed at my house for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, I have friends all over the world. And not only do I know people everywhere, as I'm traveling, my friends are traveling. So it's nothing for me to randomly meet up with people in Egypt or to randomly meet up with them in Rwanda. Like it is, in fact, that's one of the ways that I get most of my medication, right?
Oh,
Somebody is always coming. So my medicine goes to my son's home, and then we map out, oh, when the medicine comes, so and so is coming to Paris for the Olympics, they can bring it to me. Or so and so is I'm gonna be in London for a Bears game, he'll give the medicine to one of my friends and they'll bring it to me, right? So there's
wow.
always somebody coming, and whether they live in Dallas or whether they live in Chicago, like he gets it, and then he will just send it to the person who is coming to wherever I'm at. I've never missed my medication. When I first left, I left with 6 months of medicine. So,
Mhm.
and then when you get refills, it's 3 months at a time. So, definitely within 3 months, I'm going to see somebody from America in some
Okay.
random country. Yeah.
So you just have your whole network just working for you and just making life a little bit, a whole lot
Oh, they bring
easier.
medicine. They'll bring grits. They'll bring Lori seasoning, um, coffee creamer. Like, yeah, it is never a problem.
Let me see. I'm like, nobody's been posting here. I'm just going to check and see if everybody
Mhm.
can see if it's still live. Are we still live? Well, we're gonna keep going. I don't, it's like,
Yeah, yeah, keep going because they'll catch it
yeah,
on the replay.
yeah, they sure will. But yeah, so I have my sister-in-law, my former sister-in-law, who is my bestie. She's coming here in a couple of weeks, and I was like, okay, I need to give you the list of the Lowrys and the lemon pepper and all, the lemon pepper seasoning, because I don't like the lemon pepper seasoning that they have here. It's not the same thing. Yeah, but
Hmm.
so so let me just ask here. Oh, you know what? As I lead into another part of the conversation, I wanted to just go ahead and say I did a live with Rashida this past Sunday, and there's sometimes there'll be questions posted that I don't see until afterwards. So one of the ladies had asked, I said, did your daughter, because my daughter has lived here since 2016 and I just moved here, but they said, did your daughter know about Exodus Summit before you? Um, and if so, what was her impression of it? So first of all, my daughter had never heard of Exodus Summit until I brought it up, until I found it back in 2022. So she came here. She was getting ready to graduate from college, and she got the opportunity to come here and teach. But no, she had never heard of Exodus Summit, but she does now. Okay, she does now.
The first Exodus Summit, I think I was in Bali. I was in Indonesia. It must have been 2020, maybe when they had the first one.
Mm,
And from there, I just through the community of being online and doing a little research, ran up upon Exodus Summit. I had already left,
yeah.
but I was a speaker the first year talking about
Oh,
healthcare abroad and hospitalization abroad. I've been hospitalized in Thailand and in Indonesia, and then talking about insurance and how that helped the situation, and how people need to understand there's different types of travel insurance or expat insurance depending upon how long you're traveling for and where you're traveling. And if you are thinking of making um, a move to be an expat in a different country, the laws are different on how you can and cannot qualify to use the local insurance as well. But it's still not, I don't think it should be a deterrent to anyone in
mm-hmm.
picking to be on a sabbatical for a while or just straight moving abroad. Healthcare shouldn't be a problem, because really the U.S. has one of the worst health care situations with
Girl.
insurance there. But outside of the US, getting your medications and being in hospitals, most of which those doctors are all trained in the United States, even if you are in another country. So I've received excellent care, and faster care, might I say, outside of the US rather than in it.
It's more personalized. It's not like you're going down the manufacturer line, the assembly line.
No,
Um,
no, not at all. In fact, I did a live with Rashida. One of them was on what happened when I caught COVID in Dubai, and how the whole situation with getting back to America. But the care that I got in America was ridiculous. 3 months it took to see a doctor, um, for the COVID. I had what they call long COVID, right? And since I
mhm,
have a lung disease, COVID affects your respiratory system.
yes.
And so that's in fact how I knew something was wrong. We didn't even know we had COVID when we had it. We thought we just had a cold. And because this was around the time when they had that Omicron version of it. It
Mhm.
wasn't the regular kind of symptomatic things that people had before. So we thought we just had a cold, but it was the lingering issues in my respiratory system that I knew something was wrong. So I figured, well, you know what? We were about to leave Dubai and we were going on to Indonesia. We were going back to Indonesia. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to go back to America to have them really look at this. But when I got back, they were like, yeah, it's going to be 3 months before we can get in the sea. I was like, I could have just went on to
Yes.
Indonesia. Oh, it was ridiculous. And when I saw them, they didn't do anything but just give me more steroids to take. That was it. That was the treatment. And I was thinking, I could have been, you know what? Some little man in Indonesia was going to give me some tea or something, that some little herb that was going to fix it, as opposed to
Mhm.
just taking more steroids. And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
so hot
god.
about that. That's our American healthcare system for you, though.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a, well, yeah, I'm not gonna go into go into that. So I was just about to tell a story, but I was like, I think that's a little bit too much. But I'll just say this: I have a doctor that I used to swear by back in the States. He was my gynecologist, and one day, I don't know. I can just start to tell after each annual visit, like it was really a manufacturing line. It's like the first time I remember she seemed to care a little bit more. And now it was just like, okay, and check. Okay, and okay, I asked you that question. Okay, check. And I asked you that question. Okay, and did you answer me? And and I actually put something on one of the forms that should have caught their attention, and I did it intentionally. And she never said anything. And so that following, I want to say within a month, I reached out. I said, send all my medical records to me, please. Because I was about to leave in a couple of months, anyways. But I said, I need all my medical records. And the nurse was like, well, you just want the summary, the basic. And I was like, no, no, no. I want
Give
all of
me
my
all of
records.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did the same with my neurologist. I had been with him for at least a decade, and I felt like he was checking the boxes, checking the boxes.
Hmm.
A friend of mine had given me a recommendation for an MS specialist, right? And I was like, no, I've been with this guy for like a decade. And then one day, I had called. When I dipped back into America, I make appointments with all my doctors. I got 7 doctors. And
Hmm.
so when I'm going back, I'm making sure that not only do I call way in advance and make my appointment, I leave enough time so if they need me to come back for follow up appointments or to get some testing done, I got enough time to do all of that, right? And his office was like, "Oh yeah, we changed your insurance. We're out of network now. It's going to cost you, double the copay that I was paying before." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I went." And they were just like it was nothing. I was like, "Oh, I wasn't prepared for that." And then I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be paying, I might as well go someplace else and be paying to a doctor who does specifically specialize in MS care. And
Yes.
baby, when I tell you this, when I went to that new doctor, when I asked for my records, it was like he divorced me. I said maybe we should have a separation, and he was like, "Yeah, divorce. Here go all your stuff. Your appointment is canceled. We out of here." I was like, "Oh, okay," but it
Oh,
was
he got.
the best. Yeah, he was petty. it was the best thing that could have happened to me because the new office, you don't know what you don't know, right? And even though
Hmm.
I thought this doctor was doing a fine job, right? He was kind of status quo, checking the boxes. It's like an old marriage, right? You feel like, where's the spark? He just checking the boxes when I'm in there. He not treating me bad, but he ain't really going out his way, right?
It's like I do what I have to. What? What's
Well,
your
he
problem?
does. Like his staff was trash, but he was getting the job done. But when I went to the new MS doctor, I was like, oh, I could have been living like this all along. I could have been getting this kind of care. And the recommendation, when you go to this doctor, they have to decide they even want to take you as a patient. You can't just say, I want to come and see you. They got to think about it. They got to look at your records and be like, okay, maybe you a good fit for us. Right. So I was like, oh, okay. Like it was a whole process. So, and knowing who it was that recommended me, um, how the recommendation came to me, I can definitely see that. I definitely understand why other people go to this doctor. And I have received some excellent, excellent care there for my illness. And it made me think that for other people in general, if your doctor's not doing what you need to do, they work for you. They can be fired. Fail fast, right? Get rid of them fast and get somebody else.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what has been? I mean, it's like because it seems like everything has been a pretty easy. I don't want to say easy, but not as challenging as maybe you thought it would have been with all of your maybe health concerns. What was maybe like? Was there like a one big challenge that you had to overcome that you were like, oh, I didn't see that coming? Besides coming back to the States and dealing with that mess here.
You know, no, actually, I want to say if you're the type of patient that you are skilled in advocating for yourself, you can advocate for yourself in any country, regardless of there being a language barrier. And 9 times out of 10, you will receive better care with these doctors. The appointments generally are not rushed. They take their time with you. They're thorough. They're not going to over medicate you, because most of the things that you need a prescription for in many other countries, you just walk into the pharmacy and get it.
Hmm.
So most other countries have a more, even westernized medicine. If they have westernized medicine practices, they still have a more holistic approach to it. And their goal is to get you better, not just to simply medicate you through something. And it's been like that in multiple countries that I've been in, whether I was hospitalized, like I said, in Thailand, in Indonesia, for issues that were not related to my chronic illnesses. I have a lung disease and I have multiple sclerosis. I've had MS for 28 years. So, I'm old school at learning how to deal with that. But I will say, for the things that I was hospitalized for, it had nothing to do with me having multiple sclerosis, but I still received excellent care, whether it was in Thailand or in Indonesia. And the bills were better. You're talking about between $1,200 to $1,500 for each visit for a week stay in the hospital.
You'd be bankrupt in the U.S. Okay.
In America, a 45-minute ER visit was $10,000.
Hmm. And then the thing is this: they act shocked when you're like, I can't afford to pay that. It's
Yeah,
like, well, what do you mean you can't pay? It's like,
yeah.
okay, I can't afford to pay that.
Yeah,
No. Okay.
abroad, most doctors' appointments $20, $30, $50, in a lot of these countries where people generally think of um, immigrating to. The cost to get medical care is not as cost prohibitive as it is in the United States, or at least it hasn't been in my experience. And that's generally something for people who have chronic illnesses. They think that they're so beholden to their American insurance, they think that they can't move or go to another country. And there's multiple ways to be insured and to get health care in other countries.
So, you actually said that you spoke at the first Exodus Summit, and our dear friend Danica of H&D Abroad is going to be the guest speaker regarding health insurance and
Mhm.
things like that at this upcoming summit that starts October 11th. Is that right?
October
Yeah.
11th, yes. Hmm.
October 11th. So, I want to hear more about, what you've experienced and all the great things. But I also just wanted to get some insight from you, like maybe some of the questions because you attended, did you attend your exit summit, or they reached out to you because you had a relationship and you were like just the first speaker?
I was one of their first speakers when it came to healthcare. So the first 2 or 3 times that I've spoken, I've been on a panel with others that have had other health conditions, be it
Okay.
somebody had a heart attack, somebody had a chronic illness as well that had to be treated, somebody had an accident, a horrific accident, and had to be treated. And so they all talked about different ways in different countries how they dealt with those situations. Um, and then talking about health insurance on how, like, I have my Medicare Advantage plan has worldwide hospitalization coverage. But in addition to that, I also have travel insurance that will cover me for healthcare. So my primary insurance will pay one part, and then my travel insurance will pay the other part.
Okay, so we're gonna get to Exodus Summit in just a minute. I need to understand this. You have Medicare worldwide.
Yes. I have a Humana plan with Medicare, right? So it would be an Advantage plan. You have Medicare coverage, and then you have a supplemental coverage through Medicare, and that coverage for me is a plan with Humana. In that policy, just and it could be you could have Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Humana, any of those. So in my coverage, my plan has a clause where it has worldwide hospitalization coverage. So no matter where I
Okay.
am in the world, if I have an accident or a health need that causes me to be admitted to the hospital, they will pay for it.
Okay, because that's one of the things that I know some people are concerned about. They're like, how will my US medical coverage work around the world? Or do I only have to seek out this type of, if it's going to be covered under my US insurance, does it have to be on US soil?
No, it doesn't. And that's a thing for people to think, not just people with Medicare, because I'm a disabled individual, so I have Medicare, but my husband, he just has regular retirement Medicare.
Mhm.
But in both of our policies, it has a clause for worldwide hospitalization. And so, let's say you're going on sabbatical and you still have your U.S. health coverage. You can look into it, and there are some plans that also include worldwide hospitalization. But in addition to that, right, I also have travel insurance, right? I get a different plan depending on how I happen to be traveling at the time. Am I going to be gone for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? And then I decide which type of plan I want to supplement that coverage, right? So, like Safety Wing and World Nomads, they have policies that are only $40 a month that can cover me if I just went to the ER, if I needed to have an emergency tooth extracted
Yeah.
or something like that, right? But then if I stay in the hospital, depending on why I'm there and how long I'm there, their coverage kicks in too, and then they will pay. So you can be
But that's,
covered.
is that usually reimbursement though? That's reimbursed for
Well, it
safety win.
depends. You can pay for a policy that is primary, a primary travel insurance policy. They will pay up front when you are in the hospital. A secondary coverage policy is when they pay and you get reimbursed. So that's when I advise people, always read the fine print on some of these annual plans, because sometimes the difference in primary coverage and secondary coverage is another $30 a month.
Hmm. Okay. And you know what? I wanted to lean into this conversation here, with, this segment here, because of the fact that this, we talk ourselves out. We talk ourselves out of doing something that we can only dare to dream of,
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about, oh, well, that can't happen because then I'll be concerned about this issue. Um, so when it comes to coverage, if you're saying, and if you're listening to this, if you're looking at this live now or in the future when you're looking at the replay, hear what she's saying. There are very, not just suitable options, great
Mhm.
freaking options
Mhm.
available that will still allow you to either move abroad if that's what you're choosing to do, or to become a, kind of just kind of do some slow traveling if that's what you choose to do, and still be perfectly covered, wonderfully covered, um, with your either stateside insurance or your travel insurance, and get even better care outside of the US.
Oh
um,
yeah, it's and I will tell you that people generally they just don't know. They have no idea that this kind of coverage exists. Like I had in one of the groups, I can't remember which one it was. A lady was saying Humana doesn't have a policy like that. I've sold their coverage, and I was like, yes, they do. They paid my bills in two different countries, so
wow,
they
wow.
definitely have this coverage. It does exist, and the same thing for your travel insurance. There's primary coverage and secondary coverage. Primary coverage is the one you want when you want to be able to go into the hospital and make sure that they pay the bill up front and you don't have to pay for it and then get reimbursed. So that's just a detail that you need to be looking for when you're getting your policies.
Wow. So let me ask you this: like, after you did your speaking at the Exodus Summit, and you belong, I'm sure, to many of the groups still. What has it been hard to help some people that might be, or some women that might be interested in making changes, but helping them walk through that fear and getting that clarity that lets them know you have options? Um,
No, it's been very easy because, like I said, they're so green and moldable into the fact that they had no idea some of these options even existed out there.
okay.
They just didn't know. So it's just a question. We're just saying, hey, I always just like to bring the information and say, you can easily type in these 4 or 5 words into your insurance search and you can find coverage for you. So that way, if you want to bop around the world for a year, there's coverage out there. And most people think, well, if I leave America, if I leave this job, right? If I leave this job, I'm too young to qualify for Medicare. So how am I going to be covered? How am I going to get my medicine? Well, most of your medicine can be bought over the counter in these other countries. So that's one thing. Look into seeing how much your blood pressure medicine costs. How much does your cholesterol medicine cost? And truth be told, outside of the US, food is much more healthier. So you might not even need that blood pressure medicine and that cholesterol medicine once you leave.
Now, we're not saying stop altogether. We're not saying that, but if
Yeah.
there's a way to test it, to possibly wean yourself off with some guided medical attention,
Oh,
absolutely.
definitely. Yes, I'm saying that your lifestyle in general, your
Hmm.
body, for the majority of people that leave the US, you feel better, right? The food, just your basic food sources in other countries is better than the food you're eating in America. So the things that have caused people to be on certain medications, you will notice when you go to get your next annual appointment, your next blood workup, that you won't need certain things just by living outside of the US. And that was another thing that I talked about in Exodus Summit on how to prepare yourself to leave, getting your body in the best physical condition you can be before you leave so you won't need certain medicines. Like I said, it was a 6 month, I mean a 6 year plan for me to leave. I used to take probably 40 pills a day. And when I left, I was down to 10. Right. So during that year, I just worked on things to help me on my path when I
You
left.
said, wait a minute, how many pills a day?
40.
Wow.
Yeah. hmm MS, what a lot of people don't understand is multiple sclerosis is a disease that attacks your central nervous system. And it, in and of itself, it creates all these other problems in your body that have to be addressed as a
Yep.
byproduct of having multiple sclerosis. But the main thing which drives a lot of it is stress.
Yep.
And when you're not there anymore, you don't have the same stressors. You might have some other stressors, right? Like immigration. Honey, immigration can be a thorn in your side and how to deal with it. But it's not the same stress as being in America.
So, so I'm trying to see here. I'm trying to go down here because I got my questions. Let's see. So you have in your bio something about some shenanigans.
Oh my God. It's always some worldwide shenanigans with me and my husband Melvin. It's always something. Uh, but they
So
just
tell
comical
us.
most of the time. Oh, oh my goodness. I don't even know which one to start with. Well, okay, so remember I said I did a live with Rashida on what
Mhm.
it took to get out of the country when I caught COVID in Dubai. That was nothing but shenanigans on trying to get COVID tests, trying to get paperwork so I could leave. I got put out of one hotel when we told them that we had COVID and we were recovered, but we had to quarantine for 10 days. I was like, and it was around Christmas and New Year's time. So I was like, can I just not pay the inflated cost? Because I've been here a month anyway already. They was like, no. And in fact, get out. Get out right now. I was like, oh, what? But they could.
Wow.
Not only did they put us out the hotel, they kept my money. Said we got to call in hazmat to clean the room, the hallway, the elevator. So now I had to fight them to get my money back. There was that. And then the fact that I had to go to the airport with a letter from the Department of Health to even get on the plane to come back because I couldn't get a negative COVID test because of my chronic illnesses, I tested positive for 90 days.
Oh,
So
my
yeah, so
goodness.
it was nothing but shenanigans. And even just now, um, I rented and we rented an Airbnb in Morocco. The owner's rep was there with us. I made a decision not to take a picture when I got to the apartment. And I did, she was there when we left, so I didn't take a picture. The lady turned around and fabricated all this damage to the apartment and then tried to get me to pay for it. And I was like, absolutely not. I didn't do this. I didn't do it. She lied. But I had to go through this big process of proving that I didn't do this damage. I mean, she went and took stuff, threw it on the floor. She poured water all over the couch, all this stuff that we didn't do. But because of that, it created problems with me for me to be able to rent Airbnbs in France when I was coming here for the Olympics because she left me a bad review and they refused to take it down. Even though they agreed that she lied and they gave me all my money back, but they wouldn't take the review down. So because
Oh
of
my
that,
goodness.
I ended up having to go on another platform called VRBO. When I went on
Okay. Right.
VRBO to rent a location, this lady was not leaving. She was staying in the
Oh,
unit.
professional squatter.
Yes, she's like, I'm staying. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I live here. She's like, it's in the ad. I was like, no, no, it wasn't. When I rent a place, I rent the whole place for me and my husband. And the first clue was when we showed up, she was like, I cleared a shelf for you in the refrigerator. I was like, clear the shelf, ma'am. I got 5 bags of groceries. What are you talking about? Yes. And
Oh my gosh.
if that wasn't, oh, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is I'm trying to fight with VRBO to say, I got to leave. You need to give me my money back so I could rent someplace else. And they don't want to do it. And it's the Olympics, right? So
Hmm.
everything is already inflated in cost. So I'm a retired Social Security living individual. I need my money back so I can get another place. And you all, because this the listing was not correct, and VRBO says no, we don't even allow the host to be there. That's against our policy. And I'm like, if you know it's against your policy, give me my money back or let me go someplace else. So it took me some days. And for people who say, oh, I just would have left. Well, when we
Wait a minute.
arrived, my husband had an asthma attack. So he was sick. And then myself, my legs, I was losing my ability to walk. So it wasn't like, and we, at the time, we got 5 suitcases. So it wasn't like we could immediately leave, right? Just
Mhm.
out on the street with our suitcases looking for someplace else. And it's during the Olympics. So the next day, as I'm arguing back and forth with VRBO's corporate office, this woman tells me that she's going to have a friend over for dinner. And I'm thinking, first I got to deal with you here, and now you bringing over a friend. And later that evening, what does she do with that friend? She proceeds to have sex in the living room quite loudly out in the open. I'm like, I'm in a sex dungeon. This is just ridiculous.
You, girl, let me tell y'all something. I didn't see this conversation coming. I did not see this coming.
Worldwide shenanigans. It is always something out here in these travel streets. It
So,
is always something.
when you ask about shenanigans, make sure you're prepared, okay?
So look, that same surprise you just got, that's what I get. Oh,
But
so
it was
look,
live.
so I say this to warn my single ladies out here when you're traveling and you're using short-term rentals for your sabbaticals, just make sure you are looking at the listing good, because for this particular woman during the Olympics, she was probably prepositioned by VRBO to put her ad there because this same lady had a listing on Airbnb where she had had 60 people, right? And it was on Airbnb that it was definitely shared accommodations. On VRBO, her listing did not say anything about shared accommodations because they went in there and changed it. So so no matter what, this lady was not herself lying, right? But VRBO themselves had lied. Because for her, the way her setup was, she absolutely would not have gotten somebody in there just to pretend like she was leaving.
Yeah.
She never had any intention of leaving. And she had rented, like I said, 50 or 60 times on Airbnb and in a shared rental capacity. So when you look at the totality of it, you knew she really wasn't lying. I could see how, and you know how Facebook, when you say something, you get ads for stuff just because you
Mhm.
talked about it. It started because I was doing so much talking about VRBO and Airbnb. I started getting ads to put my listing on VRBO. So I can 150% see how she said, oh, was targeted to put her listing on VRBO. And
Yeah.
somebody might have called her and said, the listing you made is improper. Let me change it for you. And when they
So yeah.
changed it, they left out that fact.
Well, yeah, they left out that fact and the fact that she would be having sex on the couch in front of everybody. Okay, that
But
because that's
I did happen
totally.
to leave. I'm in a whole nother unit now that I have been here
So you're
for.
still in Paris.
I'm
You're
still in
still in Paris.
Paris. I'll be leaving this week.
So okay, so while we're on the Paris talk, what brought you to Paris and why you still there?
So I came for the Olympics. I came to be a volunteer for the regular Olympics and the Paralympics. And while I was here, I was gonna go down to Singapore and go to Formula One, but I had worked so hard at the Olympics, I was just so tired I didn't leave. And so I'm scheduled to be in London next week because I'm from Chicago and the Bears are playing in London. And then after that, I'm going to go back to Chicago.
Okay, okay, so back up. So you volunteered.
Mhm.
Do the volunteers really are volunteers, or do they get some kind of stipend or something to help them for volunteering at the Olympics?
No, you don't get anything.
Or you
You
just
get a
get the joy of being
uniform,
there?
right? You get the joy of being there. Now the joy, it was joyous. I had a remarkable time. My job was to work in the information booth at the stadium where they had the athletics at, where they had track and field, and it was phenomenal. The job itself was fantastic. Had a great time. The things you had to do surrounding the job, not so much, right? And those things were an issue because I'm a disabled individual. So the amount of security measures they had in place and how far you had to walk to get to the stadium from the train, it was hard for a person like myself that has disabilities. And I wasn't the only person that had these such problems, right? So getting there was a problem, but once you're there, it was so much fun. They give you the only thing they gave us. They feed you every day you're there, and they give you a uniform. So we got 2 pants, 4 shirts, a jacket, a vest, a duffel bag, a fanny pack, a hat. Like you get all these things, but you don't get any tickets to anything. And depending on what your job is, you could be at the stadium and still not see the events.
Okay. Okay.
But they do have ways in which to, depending on the venue, and if they're sold out or not, you still can make your way to see certain things. So it was a phenomenal experience. I had an amazing time. I got to go out on the field during closing ceremonies, and be a part of that on television and
Wow.
everything. So that was amazing. I had a phenomenal time, and I definitely would do it again.
Okay. Wow. Who knows? And okay, so here's the thing. Anybody that's watching this again now or in the future, understand. And I titled this. Not sure how the conversation was going to flow, but it's like dare to dream and making big moves. This is dare to dream. This is making some big moves that this person that Eve has like laid out some of her most challenging and most wonderful experiences and just slow traveling around. Um, Even if your goal is not to necessarily slow travel or jump around, it is proof in the story in what she's sharing with us that it is possible. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and do my plug now and tell you about why I decided that I wanted to go ahead and attend Exodus Summit again this year, even though my first time attending Exodus Summit was in 2022, and then I attended in 2023.
Move Abroad Money 2022, right? Was that Move Abroad Money?
Move Abroad Money.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's when they were talking about, the OnlyFans feet pics, and everybody was like, I could do that.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
There's a way. There's a way. There it is. And I've told this story that literally I thought I was going to be taking my job with me when I went to that summit. I thought I was going to be taking my remote job with me on the road. And 2 days later, I was like, and no, I think I need to leave this job because it's not good for my health at all. And then the following year in 2023, is when I learned more about from Libria Jones about Chat GPT, about using it for all of the different needs as far as increasing your visibility for whatever kind of job that you wanted or whatever kind of marketing for your business, consulting, or whatever it is that you want to bring out there. It's amazing. I also learned last year about taking this 6-month contract that I had, and now I don't have to work for the rest of the year. Um, I didn't know that that was even an option. Now, for me, I don't know if I can sit still that long, but knowing that I'm okay for the rest of the year is really nice. I say all that because I went ahead at the last minute and bought myself another ticket for this year because every year I am inspired. I am not just inspired, I'm getting some very like hands-on usable information that I can implement
Yeah,
in
you learn something every
mhm,
year. They have a different theme every year, and no
mhm,
matter where you are in your journey. Now, they usually have actionable stuff, right? They
mhm.
usually have speakers that are telling you what you can do right now to put you on the path to lead within the next 6 months. So it's different. It's a different theme each year to get you to where you want to be. Whether it's I'm taking a 30-day sabbatical, a 6 month, I'm gonna travel around the world for a year, or I want to move to Portugal, right?
Yep.
There's something for everybody if your intention is to change the stress that's in your life and to make your life easier and to have freedom, whether that's financial freedom, whether that's remote freedom, right? Exodus Summit in some way is going to show you by people who have done it how you can make your life easier or to get rid of the things that you feel are obstacles to being able to live a more freeing life.
Yes. And the thing is, like even like last year, even though I was getting because I got like the full access. I wasn't like, no, I don't need just like one day. I need the full access. But the thing is, not only did I get so much information from that, I also shared when they started doing the salons, just because I wasn't a guest speaker, when they started doing the salons, I jumped right in there and started sharing my story and giving insight about the pet sitting, about, the things to consider when, if you want to do pet sitting, whether it's full time or part time or just for vacation time, just varies. So I have, for me, I get excited about the knowledge that I'm going to gain, and I'm also excited about the knowledge that I share based on my experience. It's like paying it forward in
Oh,
a sense.
absolutely. And I feel that there are so many ways. I mentioned before that in my past life, I owned a construction company. Well, in that construction company, I also sat on some nonprofit boards where I helped other small business owners, women business owners, and minority business owners in contracting endeavors. And so, even though I'm not in a construction company capacity anymore, I am still in a manner of helping or being of help or of
Mhm.
service to other individuals. And remember, I said you don't know what you don't know. So if I know, what is it going to cost me to tell the next woman how they can better their life? Just that small bit of information about health
Mhm.
insurance and how you could, even if you were just going to take a 3 month sabbatical, telling somebody that you can leave with 3 to 6 months of your medicine, how to just make a phone call to your doctor's office and your insurance company to get a vacation waiver to be able to take that medicine with you. That's information that people didn't have. It's something that they needed to know. So in Exodus Summit, those ladies are dropping gems on little things that you might not have known to help you along the way to making there be less obstacles to you to be able to live.
Yes. So, and you know what? And you come to realize again, we talk ourselves a lot of times out of going all the way in for that joy, whatever it is that we know is going to possibly change our lives and make us happy. And
Mhm.
so that's why, again, I'm here and I talk about it. I share my pet sitting experiences to give people the tools so that they don't have to go through whatever possible suffering that I had already gone through because I didn't know. Okay. Stephanie Perry did the same thing. There was a lot of stuff that she had shared through her. I didn't do the house sitting school, but it was definitely some great information using that her template letter when you sign up for her email. Um, Definitely, that template got me my first pet sit within, like, I think I had applied for three different ones, and I got a pet sit right away just because that letter downloaded it, tweaked it. So as much as they are helping the Black women around the world, quite frankly, I want to do my part and pay it forward. And like, so I have, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to put some information in here. I have meetups happening in Madrid on October 23rd. Okay. And also, we're doing a 2-day meetup in Zaragoza, the 24th and
Mm.
25th. I say that because there's a couple of women that are coming here to Spain, to Madrid, and they're like, I'm scared. I've never traveled by myself before, ever. And even more so to another country.
Mhm.
So I have been, in communication with them. We're having a meeting this weekend so that I can make sure and do my best that I can to talk them through and let them know some things that they need to be looking out for, because I want this to be, I can't. There's no way I could possibly answer everything, but I want to give as much information as possible. I want to open myself up to allow them to make sure that they can enjoy as much as possible, give them all the knowledge that I have. I want to impart that onto them. And it originated, one, because of my personality, just that's just how I am anyways, but also because Exodus Summit did it for me. The
Mhm.
women within the community did it for me. They showed me, they gave me the cheers and the you can do it, and stop talking yourself out of doing something just because maybe society says that you're not supposed to do it, or
Mhm.
somebody in your family says that you're not supposed to do it, or somebody's trying to talk fear into you. This is why I do what I do, and this is why I go around talking about Exodus Summit. People are like, "No, it ain't a cult." Okay.
No, but it's just information sharing in the best sort of way to not, be a gatekeeper to information.
Exactly. To share that, so I'm gonna actually just drop it. All the information, the links that I'm putting in the comments right now, in the live chat comments, all the information is actually on in the description below. I'm getting much better at that now. Okay, so it's on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop that information in for like if you know you're going to be traveling around Spain or the EU and you want to be in Madrid in October, I am setting the link out here so that you can check it out. Hold on just a second.
You
Let
know,
me
I
just
see that Eileen asked a question in here. She wanted to know, did I research doctors
oh
or
yeah.
specialists in each country before traveling there? And the answer is yes and no. So in my um, when I first was going to leave, I researched countries that I thought I wanted to permanently live in, be it Belize, Panama, and Costa Rica. And Costa Rica was the number two place in the world to get treatment for multiple sclerosis. And I thought that Costa Rica would have been the place where I would have moved to. And really, only because of Liberia Jones and her remote work year program did I move to Thailand, because I was like, oh, I knew I didn't want to live there permanently, but I figured I could go there, set it up as a base, and travel around Southeast Asia for a year and then move to Costa Rica, right?
Hmm.
Because they were there, they did 3 months in four different countries. And so I was like, oh, if they did that, I could probably do that, right? So it was because of her, right? She's a frequent speaker at Exodus Summit. She is the
And we'll
queen of
be again
helping
this year.
people. Right.
Yeah.
She's the queen of helping people learn how to get remote work. Now, I myself didn't need any remote work, but the simple fact that she had a program showing people how you could move around the different places sparked it in me that, wait a minute, I could probably do that. It was her and another travel influencer. His name is Jabril. So Jabril with Passport Heavy was going around to different
Is
places.
that I'm sorry, Jabril, isn't that like the Budgetnista's friend, Tiffany
Yes,
Budgetnista's friend?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So, but we're talking, remember, we're talking years ago. So when I first saw him commenting about how he was living, I think he might have been in Bali or Asia at the time, but we're talking almost 10 years ago, 6 to 10 years ago, when he was just traveling around. And then he started saying, hey, look, you could stay in Airbnbs, you could stay in short term rentals. I was like, oh, I could do that. So all of that was happening when I was doing my research, right?
Hmm.
And so
I call
that's
them
how I,
little gems. That's what I call it. I was talking to,
yes,
yeah, you're getting these little gems. You just kind of put them in your pocket. You don't know when you're
yes.
going to actually use it, but eventually you're going to bring it out and you have a whole pocket full of gems,
And
knowledge.
wait, a funny story. Okay, here goes some more worldwide shenanigans, right? I was in Rwanda for the NBA has an African basketball league, and they have the finals in Rwanda. So before I came here to Paris, I was in Rwanda for a couple of months, and I was there for the basketball finals. Who do I see sitting courtside? Jabril. And so I was like, I think that's Jabril. And so I was with another lady from, guess where? Exodus Summit, right? Another lady who lives in Rwanda that I met through the Exodus Summit, right? Sean. She and we done met up. We there at the game. And I was like, girl, I think that's Jabril. Here we are fangirling over Jabril. I was like, girl, we going over there. And sure enough, we went over there and I was like, is your name Jabril? And he's like, it is. I was like, I knew
In
it. And we both went on to,
Rwanda.
in
Wow.
Rwanda of all places, and we both went on to tell him how he had inspired us both in separate ways how to travel. Yeah, and that was 10 years in the making, right? So just little gems. And then I'm always telling people, hey, people think it costs so much money sometimes to travel in the mannerism in which I do. And when I tell them that most of the time I'm staying someplace for $500 a month in an Airbnb. Jabril was the one that says, you could ask that owner to go down. If they not rented out for the next 2 months, they could want $100 a day. Sometimes they'll go down to 50. He was the first person to tell me that. So that's how I started negotiating with Airbnbs for long term rental stays. Again, that's another little gem that I just learned along the way in doing some research. So I
And the
like to
thing is,
share.
you can look. There's a way, like on Airbnb, you can look and see like if they're already booked up, if they already have like the dates blocked off and everything. So you can
Absolutely,
see.
absolutely. And here's the other thing: like in Thailand, there's a lady who had like 6 to 10 units in one building. Man, if you haven't rented them and I'm offering you XYZ amount of money, some money better than no money, right? 9 times out of 10, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lots of times you can negotiate with them to rent off book for a cheaper fee.
So that way they're not paying the Airbnb fee or whatever the platform
Absolutely.
pays.
But then you
Yeah.
learn how to have them create you a little contract so you're still both protected
Yeah.
uh, for the term of the rental. Except,
And let me
that little sex situation going on.
the contract stipulates that you cannot have coitus in the living
Definitely
room.
not in the living room.
Can you tell I
Oh,
watch Big Bang
hilarious.
Theory?
That's hilarious. But that's just something with like what we're doing now. We're helping these ladies in the chat. We are dropping them
Hmm.
information that we have learned along the way. And Exodus Summit is like this chat we're having on steroids. It is going to give you so many different options and information, some that you know you need and some that you don't even know
You don't
that you
even
needed
know.
certain information. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the key thing. That is the when I tell you, again, I didn't know, but I was like, I bought off that jewel when that last full time job and stuff, when they were like had me stressing out and thinking I was about to stroke out, and I was like, here's that jewel, here's that little gem,
Hmm.
drop
Hmm.
it, boom, mic drop. I'm out. Bye.
Hmm.
In a way that was
And able
beneficial
to
to me.
And you'd be surprised how, in your regular talkings to other women, how you are able to take things that you've learned from Exodus Summit and be able to tell them, oh, hey, you can go find this person on YouTube. You can find that person on Instagram, and they can help you with this or they can help you with that. And so you're just, it's like definitely a village of women that are helping other women to make their lives easier.
And I just say I'm the vessel that's going to share and impart my knowledge, and the vessel that's going to like send you off to somebody else if I don't know,
Mhm,
because I don't. Yeah,
mhm,
I can only tell you based on my experience, but I know
mhm.
other. My way is not the only way. Eve's way is not the only way. It's the way that works best for her, and it's the way that works best for you. So at this point, then we're gonna send you. Or that's why I'm gonna keep talking to other people because you started something now. This is my second live interview. Okay, so now
You're doing
I'm
great.
hooked. I think I'm hooked. And yeah, I'm just so excited that you came on and to share and again, we want you to take this information and use it to your advantage. That's the goal. It's not to be
Absolutely.
selfish because a happy you probably makes other people very happy too. Because if you're stressed out all the time because either the job sucks or something in your life is like really like bogging you down, once you start thinking about what's going to really make you happy, it, the bottom line is if you have kids, or I don't know if I've never been married, so, but I'm going to say this: if you're happier, most likely other people around you are going to be happier too. Never been married, but I do know stuff that there's a certain weight that has been lifted off of me,
Girl, I've been married three
mentally and
times. You
emotionally.
still got time to do it. I'm on my third one. I'm gonna keep this one though. I like this one. I'm gonna keep it.
I ain't done it once yet, but I'm cool with that. Okay. I figured if I do it at this age, I'll be, by the way, tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy early
Okay,
birthday.
I'm just shaking my breast here.
Oh,
Yes.
but here's the one thing about having a birthday and being an expat or a nomad or whatever you want to call it. You get a full like 36 to 48 hours of birthday
Oh,
celebration because
yeah.
I'm gonna celebrate in whatever country I am, and then I'm gonna double dip and go back and get that American birthday celebration too.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yes. So, yeah, hopefully this weekend we're probably going to go see Chicago. They have Chicago is playing in Zaragoza. in Zaragoza, Spain. Yeah, so I'm not one for musicals, but I saw that it was that they were performing here for like the next 10 days, and I'm excited. And my daughter said, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, I didn't even think about it. I was like, I would like to go see Chicago and
What is
sing.
that like having your daughter in the same country that you're in?
It's relatively. I mean, it's easy. She knows my personality. My kids know my personality, and years ago, just for funsies, years ago, my when I lived in Houston, I ended up getting an apartment that was on the same property as the apartment that my oldest daughter had moved into. Because I went to go see her, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." It was like a little Melrose Place kind of thing. Anyways, it was a very understand. We had clear boundaries. Don't come at my house without knocking. Okay. I don't care if you have a key. Don't do it. Okay. So with that, it's I just say that my daughter here now, so we respect each other's boundaries. But it's so great also to have her close by. It's great to have my one granddaughter close by and to be able to see her. But yeah, it's really awesome because I'm city. I'm in the city here, and she's like a little bit on the outskirts in the suburbs. It only takes like 20 minutes, but um, it's a wonderful balance. It's an absolutely wonderful balance. And initially, when I first moved here, and I first moved into my own flat, she seemed really, really concerned because I had been traveling for a year and a half doing, I've been living out my suitcase doing full time pet sitting. So when I got here and I sat down and I was like, I'm just going to chill. Her concern was, I don't want you to be here and then you not do anything and then you like be like, I don't like Spain. I was like, girl, I'm just going to relax for a minute. Let me do this. Now, I be in the streets. Okay. Like, here's my calendar for this month. Instead of what day are we going to try to get together because I'm about to be out. Okay. And now that I
I
got
know my
my
son
visa,
wishes I would sit. I know my son wishes I would sit down somewhere. I know he wishes I would just pick a country and just woman, will you just sit down, please? But
yeah,
my dream would
yeah,
be if I sat down in a country for him to come. So I do think he's 37, I think. So, in the next 10, 15 years or so, I could see him if I was closer to America, him
yeah.
coming if I'm somewhere closer.
Okay. So, okay, quick question because it's like two things. I want to kill two birds with one stone here. So, Olayinka was asking, did Jabril speak at first Exodus Summit, or you just happened to see him before? Because I was
No,
like, I
I
don't think
just
that was
happened to
allowed.
see. No, I just happened to see him. So I had followed him for over a decade. And at the basketball game, there was another lady there from Exodus Summit, another attendee. Her name was Sean. We had like the first time I came to Rwanda, I did an Exodus Summit shout out and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Rwanda, and if any of you ladies would like to get together." And so there were 6 or 7 of us that met up, right? And so I have friends in Rwanda, so I've gone back a few times, right? So when I went back for the basketball finals, Sean is a person who lives there, and she and I were sitting down chatting, and they were looking at like, I think that's Jabril, and she's like, "Girl, you know Jabril?" I was like, "Yeah, Jabril." And sure enough, we went over and talked to him. So he hasn't spoken at Exodus Summit, but I want to say Tiffany the Budgetnista might have spoken at Exodus Summit
No, she
before. And
hasn't
Tiffany,
yet. That's
oh,
oh
I
no,
can't
she hasn't
believe
yet. She got
and
Tabitha.
it's
She got Tabitha Brown. I think
oh
yes. We
yeah,
need to
she
get
had
Tiffany on there.
yeah.
Let's speak that
Tabitha
into
spoke the day
existence.
after I did. Yeah, Tabitha.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
beautiful
that was a good
and
one.
stuff. Also, I just wanted to add that because Olayinka is in Paris too right
I'm in
now.
Paris for another week.
Okay, so
Look,
yeah.
I do another shout out. Anybody want to grab a drink or grab a lunch? When you slow travel, people are like, "What are you doing today?" Like nothing. I'm just sitting in this apartment watching TV. I cooked today. We cook. When you slow travel, you're not in the street every day.
When you yeah, even because it's so funny because my I have my friends and family, especially back home, they're like, "What'd you do today?" It's like I was on my couch watching something on Netflix. What? I'm I'm enjoying it. I enjoy going out. I enjoy doing some things and meeting up with people and going out, just like what I did when I was back in the States. It's just in another country. But I'm not, out here. I'm not doing vacation staying. I'm doing living staying
Those
here.
are two different things. They are
Very much so.
wait. I have been here since July 1st, and I have not been to the Eiffel Tower one time. So, but I have been, but Paris in general, I have been to Paris in general like 6 or 7 times. So I
Okay.
didn't feel the need to do all these things. And like my family's coming here this weekend.
Okay.
My brother, his wife, my niece, they'll be here. And then in London, I'm meeting up with a bunch of my friends for the Bears game. I also run a small travel company. So we are
Okay.
meeting up and doing an event in London for the game, and then a few of them and us will come back. So here to Paris. And so I have to do all those touristy things then. So now
Yeah.
I don't feel the need, to do most of those things on me. I'm just chilling.
Yeah, so when we have, because like when I have like women that are coming to Madrid in a few weeks, whenever, because I go to Madrid now pretty often because it's like, like I've gone back, I don't know, about maybe 4 or 5 times. And besides that, just when I've come before, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant, it's just a fact. But when I go by myself, I'm not looking to go and see anything in particular. I'm like trying to go to the off the beaten places or like,
Hmm.
yeah. So but when I have guests here, it's like, oh yes, I want to show them, especially if they've never been here before. So we have to go to Pilar, not Plaza Mayor, not Plaza Park, uh, Plaza Mayor, and all these other places. Yeah, we have to go. But if I'm just here with me, myself, and me on a pet sit, I'm like, I'm chilling. I mean, I enjoy walking around and enjoying some things and definitely enjoying the food. But overall, I'm not living vacation life
But
here.
I was going to say, vacation life costs more than everyday life.
Ooh.
And when friends come to visit you, they on vacation life and you're on real life. So, like me, I had a thing where, remember I said in Thailand, people were coming every month, and I'd say,
Hmm.
okay, look, I'm gonna do
Can't
one
afford
thing
this.
with you. Pick which thing you want to do, and it can't be something I already did, right? But I will send you with the tour guide to do all those things because I don't want to do all of that, right? So, oh, she say you balling, girl. No, I'm over here in Line Defense, staying in an apartment. I look at her think, no, no, I'm just sitting here. We had spaghetti for lunch, and we finna have pad thai for dinner, and I had frosted flakes for breakfast. So no, we just chilling, not doing nothing. But you have to get your friends to understand when they come to hang with you, like, hey, hey,
Hmm.
hey, we not spending that the same money. Your vacation money is not like my everyday living
Yeah. Yes. And so Tania says, this is why I love community. No gatekeeping, and by people who truly
money.
wants to see other sisters happy. That is the truth. That is the absolute truth.
Hmm.
Like I'm having so much joy. It ain't. Again, life is not perfect. So I don't ever want people to think like, oh, she just went to Spain and all her life problems were solved forever.
Oh
No,
no,
girl, no.
no,
But I feel damn good.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah.
That's how a good way to put it. For the most part, am I happy every day? Not every minute of every second of every hour of every day, but I'm probably 90% more happier than I was in America. Do I still have health
Mhm.
challenges? Absolutely. I have days where I can't get out the bed for days, right? But I'm still relaxed or happy or I'm okay in my health conditions. It's not stressing me. Um, because I have a situation going on, right? I seem happy most of the time because genuinely I am happy. Less stress gives you more endorphins of happiness. And I will say I get that from being outside of America.
Amen. And then on top of that, you went from 46 pills a day down to 10.
Yeah.
That's that's amazing. That speaks volumes right there. It absolutely speaks volumes
Hmm.
that you can transition down to taking that much less medicine every day because it all affects you when you're taking all that medicine. So it affects your body. It can be draining, I'm sure.
It is draining. It keeps you lethargic. It keeps you from doing a lot of things. And even though I still have lots of health challenges, I don't have some of the same challenges that I had before. And I still lead a better lifestyle.
Okay. Well, let's see. We're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap some of this up. And I wanted to find out from you. Let me see if there's anything you were going to, if you want, you can put that, the link to that doc that you were telling me about, put it in the WhatsApp and I'll copy it from there if you can do that.
Perfect. Girl, yeah, because I was like, if I touch a button, it's gonna it's gonna take something away. Oh, that was so funny. And I said, oh look, it's just the mute button. That's why I can't hear nothing. Oh, that was hilarious. That's why I
So,
don't
and
got a whole bunch of YouTubers.
well, I'll tell you what, live seem to be working just fine and stuff. Then I just have to start like maybe creating some clips, but we'll go from there. We'll see. But yeah, go ahead and send that to me whenever you get a chance, and then I'll just put it in the description. So you've traveled to over 50 countries and just living that life, and I am in awe. Especially when people are like, well, I have specific health concerns and disabilities, so therefore that is not possible for me. All things are possible. Yeah, all things are possible. There might be some challenges that you have to, experience to get to it. Sometimes you got to go through it to get to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Let me just see one more thing here. Indeed. Okay. I just want to make sure. Oh, so said a few times I've traveled outside the U.S. and come back. I can tell the difference immediately. Hmm. Kind of that.
Hmm.
Something like you kind of feel weighed down, a little pressure or something just seems to be going up the back. I remember that feeling, just kind of going up the back of my neck. Like I could just feel my shoulders were like really relaxed before. And then when I would come back, I was kind of like I just felt like the tension and the weight of getting back to my reality. That's what it comes down to. So I'm going to go ahead and share Eve's information again. The it is in the description, but I'm going to go ahead and share. You can follow her on Instagram. Well, I'm going to share the, yeah, you can follow her on Instagram. I'm just going to share your Instagram. So you can welcome to follow her there. But any other contacts you can find in there. And I will be also, thank you. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up right now and put it in there. See, we didn't disconnect when you sent me the information.
Ah,
Oh,
look
and
at
and and
God.
Eve, and just what is this that I'm posting here? I just want to make sure that everybody
So it's
knows.
a tip sheet on travel insurance and questions that you need to consider when you're looking into different companies for your travel insurance and how to evaluate different policies. Just questions to ask and things to look for.
Oh, she said she's not in Paris. Okay, my bad. I thought you said that you were that it was cold in Paris right now. I just assumed that you were like in Paris. My bad. Okay. And so let's see. Cheat sheet on travel insurance. Okay. Yep. This is great information. Game changing. So, do you have anything else you wanted to add or put out there
No,
here?
I am happy that I hope I was able to impart some form of wisdom to some of the
Oh
ladies
yeah.
and make at least one or two things a little bit easier for them in their consideration to move about the world. And that no matter what your limitations are, health wise, financially, emotionally, it can be done. With a little bit of planning, a little bit of research, it definitely can be done.
Very much so. Very much so. And again, ladies, Exodus Summit for Black women. This is our community that we support, and we want you to go bigger and dare to dream even bigger than you could have ever imagined. I'm going to post my link. I do have an affiliate link. That means that if you do sign up through my link, and it's also in the description, that I will be getting some kind of little extra funds and stuff. I won't be retiring, but I'll be happy with that. So yes, please do sign up. Don't miss it. Again, this is my third year. I've already left the job that I didn't like. I already have moved abroad. Um, I already have secured my first big client that allowed me to maybe not have to work for the rest of the year. I already did it, and I'm still going back to the Exodus Summit this year. Okay. So, with all the love, again, thank you so much. And if you guys need to contact us, you can schedule a consultation with me. All the information is down in the description. And with that, I'll say much love and make sure that you're locating your cozy. Okay. All
Absolutely.
right.
Good night,
Peace out.
ladies.
Hold on, girl.